kind of come over here at 18. I worked at a place, a small steelworks that used to make blade knives for the paper industry, and there was a fella there called Georgie Lomas. And when I first come over, he says, "Nah, Andy, where's that come from?" And I'm looking at him, thinking to myself, you know, I can't understand him. You know, where he starts, says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Where does that come from?" Or he says, "Where do I come from?" And I thought I spoke better English than what he did. They were lovely people at this place, Alfred Beckett's. I think it was that impression, working at Beckett's, that I stopped in Sheffield. 1960-61. The vicar there was a lovely man called the Reverend Fred Harrington. And he asked me, would I help out forming some sort of a youth club? At the time I was boxing amateur, and I says, well, you know, I'll go in and do what I can. I went in there and made a sort of a makeshift gym. You know, I got them in training, but also run a dance of a Sunday night for them because there was nothing happening around the place. Had all these boys and girls. That was an experience in themselves, having all these teenagers, 14, 15 and 16. They were as mad as March hares.
I went to the gym to make friends. I was 15 years old. Brainwashed, hypnotised. He got me the second I met Brendan. He said, "What have you heard about me?" And I said, "My dad said you're a con man." And he started laughing. He went, "Oh yeah? And what do you think?" And I said, "Well, I want to find out for myself." That was it. Ever since then, I just love being at the gym. It's very good at getting you to ask yourself questions and believing in yourself. And I always thought, if you can do that to me, a kid that left school with no qualifications, no self-confidence, had no ambition, I was a proper mummy's boy, he told me that. This guy, you know, he can produce something out of nothing.
He's 13, 5 stone 4, moves very much like a sawn-off Harold Bomber Graham, and has excited his trainer.
Bomber, it was something exceptional. You know, Bomber was very crafty and get out of the way, and he didn't really show his potential at Naz's age, but Naz is something special. I think, you know, within 5 years, I can see him, 6 years, I can see him win an Olympic medal.
I'm all right, just moving and slipping, hitting, getting out of the way.
Was that your great gift?
Yeah, that's mine.
What about your punching power?
I'm not a really hard hitter, but I can hit when it comes to people who want to hit.
The bus is going up Newman Road, probably around break time, sometime in the early afternoon. The bus stop, there's a small wall, there's some railings, and I see this little fella, probably around 6 or 7 at the time, and two or three white little lads, and he's dodging.
I can't remember it at all myself, but Brendan seems to tell the story, obviously when I was younger and everything, and he told me it was to create interest at the time, and it did create a lot of interest, so I've got to give it Brendan.